What if I told you that one of the most dangerous hackers in history wasn't even old enough to drive? What if I told you he couldn't even see? This is a chilling true story of Matthew Weigman, also known as Mr. Silent, the king of hacking, the boy who could trick the world with nothing more than his ears and his voice. But before we get to him, let's start with a phone call that shook an American police station to its core. A police officer picks up the phone. On the other end, a man's voice. I'm holding a hostage. She's 27 years old. The ransom is $50,000. My name is Mr. Purple. If the money doesn't arrive in 10 minutes, I'll kill her. He gives them an exact address and hangs up. Within minutes, the house is surrounded. Officers storm in, only to find something shocking. The supposed hostage sitting calmly in her bedroom. The supposed kidnapper sitting in the living room. The twist? Their father and daughter. The daughter screams, "Don't take my father." And the father looks stunned, confused, unaware of the chaos around him. Who then made that call, whose voice matches perfectly. That's when the daughter whispers something chilling. Mr. Purple kept his promise. And what's coming is even greater. Enter Matthew Weigman. Born in Boston in 1990, blind since birth, bullied at school and rejected even by his family. His mother once told him, "You're a punishment for something I did in the past." Those words carved a wound so deep that isolation became his only refuge. But isolation gave birth to something else, a superpower. Matthew developed perfect hearing. He could memorize phone numbers by listening to the tones of the dial. He could imitate any voice, a man, a woman, even a drunk stranger. And with that voice, he would build a world of lies. At just 13, he discovered conference call parties. Imagine early social media, hundreds of voices in one giant phone call. Matthew didn't just listen. He recorded, memorized, and cataloged. Within a year, he had over 1,000 numbers stored, ready to use. Soon, he was recruited by hackers. They taught him how to spoof numbers and hijack calls. He learned how to sound like anyone, from bank employees to federal prosecutors. And his first victim? A 24-year-old woman who rejected him. Matthew used her number to call 911, faking a hostage situation in her home. Police stormed in, guns drawn. Nothing was real except Matthew's voice. This wasn't just a prank. It was a beginning of swatting. And Matthew was its twisted pioneer. He could trick banks. He could steal millions by pretending to be trusted employees. He even changed a court ruling by imitating a prosecutor and ordering evidence files to disappear. At just 15 years old, he was pulling off crimes entire syndicates couldn't. The FBI called him a genius. Hackers called him a legend, and he called himself Mr. Silent. But like every story of power, arrogance brought him down. He threatened another girl. He couldn't resist taunting her, calling her over and over. One day, she kept him talking for 11 minutes. That was all the FBI needed. They kicked down his door and discovered the truth. The criminal mastermind was just a 15-year-old blind boy. Too young for prison, Matthew cut a deal. He betrayed 169 criminals, leading the FBI to some of the biggest busts in U.S. history. But Matthew didn't stop. He kept hacking, kept calling, kept taunting, until April 20th, 2008, his 18th birthday. That's when the FBI arrested him again and sentenced him to 11 years in prison. But here's where it gets strange. On paper, Matthew Weigman is serving his sentence. In reality, rumors say he was recruited by U.S. intelligence, that his talents were too valuable to waste in a cell, that somewhere in a hidden office, Mr. Silent is still listening. So I'll leave you with this question. Was Matthew a genius cursed by society, or a monster created by rejection? You decide.